right, guys, what's going on? Day number 14, I believe, right? Day number 14 of the podcast, and we've got, let's see, it says days completed 12. 12 days completed. Looking good. We've got good scores here. 72% winning trade rate. I believe we've got amazing numbers, guys. Look at the profit target or a profit. Yes, profit factor 2.32. That is awesome. Basically we need a little over $1,000, right? A little over $1,000 to finish, and we are going to finish nice and strong because we're looking for premium setups here. Yep, it is. I didn't want to take a chance on this demand zone, but it's 9:30. We have mixed signals right now, right? So is it a premium setup pre-market? No, it's not. It's going a little haywire here, right? But we are 4 hour chart. This is the 4 hour and 3 hour chart are in. Let's check the 3 hour. Yeah, it's uptrend, right? 3 hour uptrend, 4 hour uptrend, 1 hour uptrend. So we're in an uptrend. CCI on the 4 hour chart is starting to pull back a bit, right? Still trying to pull back there. We're below negative 100 on CCI on the 1 hour chart, and we're kind of hovering on the 50 simple moving average. So a bit of indecision here, right? We still have mixed signals. We've got mixed signals here. So, yesterday we had mixed signals. We had the same signals yesterday, right? The only thing we were missing was CCI on the 1 hour chart. And the demand zone that we went after, it ended up working. But, again, now if we have a nice reaction out of this demand zone and we've got a bullish candle formation on the opening range, what do we do? Do we take a chance on that? I would be very mindful of this red line here. That's the previous day's high. Okay, that's the previous day's high. Here's that little session line right here. It's very light blue session line. So previous day's high, this gray line here, that is yesterday's opening range, right? Here's yesterday's opening range there and there. Okay, and we've got this. Let me open up the chart. There's your demand zone. There's your demand zone right there. This little purple line just kind of bifurcates the demand zone. And look how it just comes into that demand zone. It hit it a few times, right? It hit it a few times as we were coming down on the 15-minute trend. And is it going to hold? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to hold, but it definitely seems to be having a quite a reaction there. So this is the 15-minute candle that we're watching. It is inside of a 15-minute demand zone. We've got an uptrend, and we just don't have CCI on the 1 hour chart. And that, I think, is going to cause some issues once we start hitting resistance levels like previous day's high here. Okay, let me make that line. I don't know if I can make that a little bit. I'd like to make that a little bit darker. But yeah, red line here, previous day's high. You can see how yesterday it had a lot of trouble, right? A lot of trouble getting past it, and then boom, right? Deep pullback into this demand zone. And when you're looking at this, you're saying, oh, well, this demand zone is holding, but this candle can turn around really quick. So it's like, what do you want to take a chance on? You'd have to take an initial chance, right here at this purple line, put your stop loss maybe below the opening range. But then you've got this demand zone right here. Now this demand zone's kind of not looking so good, right? And that's what we want to stop. We want to stop guessing at, oh, is it this demand zone? Maybe it's this demand zone. Okay. You can only trade what you see. And sometimes what you see changes very quickly. Let's think about this. This is the 1, 2. This is putting in a third wave. Okay, so we're pretty early in this 15-minute trend. Here. Eddie, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. So yeah, so what's happening here? So now it looks like we're continuing Okay, the downward move here. We're about to break through this, demand zone. Are we going for this down here? Okay, we should really draw out this first, right? Oops, get rid of that. And then we've got this thing here. Okay, let's draw this out. I don't really know how. That's a market edge right below. If we look at the 30-minute, it's more of a 30-minute demand zone. Rally, base, rally right there. You can draw it like that. Rally, base, rally on the 30-minute chart. This is the 15-minute demand zone. Let's get rid of this, right? That makes sense. It blew through that demand zone right here because it got hit so many times. It's not a fresh demand zone. 939. Here's yesterday's opening range right here. And it's sort of hitting the bottom of yesterday's opening range inside of this drop base rally demand zone here. 15-minute chart. Should we draw it like that? Sure. Let's draw it like that. That's the market edge, this dark green line here, the market edge between here and the 30-minute demand zone, rally base rally. I like that. Makes sense, makes logical sense. All right, let's start drawing out our opening range. There's the top of the opening range here. Here's the bottom of the new opening range. Let's get rid of that. So this is an opening range so far. This is the new opening range so far inside of yesterday's opening range, literally. It is literally inside. This is an opening range inside of yesterday's opening range, which was really wide. Okay. So it's hitting this demand zone. Right. If we get a breakout to the downside here, I'm going to drop down to the 5-minute chart and I'm going to start looking for reversal patterns because that seems to be what's working. We get the reversal pattern. We get the retest of the reversal pattern later in the day, and then the move up. Okay. So we're gonna have to take that because that's what I saw yesterday and that's what I saw the day before, and I didn't take it because momentum was against us. But that seems to be what's working right now. It's an observation that I made. What's going on in the chat here? Okay. All right. Let's take a look at our conditions. You can see here we are below the 50 simple on the 1-hour chart. We are below negative 100 on the 1-hour chart. Okay, so right now, the conditions to go long are there, right? We're sort of in the middle of this thing. And we're really just now we're just using technical analysis logic, right? Now whenever you're using logic, you're using your technical analysis skills, you have to remember it's not the strategy that we use, right? The strategy that we look for is that we have those 3 conditions met, right? 3-hour CCI above the 0 line, 1-hour CCI above the 0 line, 1-hour price action above the 50 simple moving average, right? We don't have that right now. Kind of a neutral candle forming the opening range right now. Really looks like it wants to hold at that demand zone there, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. We don't have we don't have premium setup for our breakout, and we have to just be cautious of that. 943. If we get breakout to the upside, I'm going to have to wait for that 5-minute candle, right? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Seconds left here. Unfortunately, I can't take the breakout to the upside of this because we just don't have the conditions met, and momentum is looking like, it's down. And even the 4-hour. Let me go over to trading view. I have to get my data back. Yeah, 3-hour chart is definitely trying to push past negative 100. Okay, so and it's cycling down also. We are cycling down on the 3-hour chart. Okay, there we go. opening range officially set. Let's drop down to the 5-minute chart now. So we have that's pretty much a neutral candle that formed the opening range. Really looks like it wants to break out to the upside, which means this demand zone held. If we get a breakout to the upside, we've got the top of yesterday's opening range and previous day's high pretty close by. All right. We can't jump the gun here and say, oh, get in now. If we had conditions met, like if we were up here, we would be able to do that. But we would be taking this breakout against our strategy. We just can't do that. We're going to have to use our technical analysis skills and kind of, do what we did yesterday and the day before, right? We were taking those demand zones on the retest, right? So we get into a demand zone, we drop down to the 5-minute chart, and we either start looking for those 5-minute trend cloud signals to the upside, or we look for that W pattern, that W pattern that forms on the 5-minute chart, and that seems to work very nicely. But you have to hit some sort of support or imbalance level, right? Which is demand zone. You've got to hit some sort of demand zone. And we never really like taking demand zones that are below the 50 simple moving average, especially on our 1 hour chart, right? We like taking demand zones that fall above, that are above the 50 simple, like right here, this sort of this rally-based rally, right? Price came down yesterday, smashed that demand zone and took off to the upside. But because this was such a rapid and deep pullback, momentum was against us. And we're just having these, very sharp moves take place. And we don't really like that. We don't really like that. We like taking demand zones when we have momentum and trend in our favor. Right. So I kind of saw this, right? I kind of saw the way these candles were moving. Looks like it wants to break to the upside. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. We don't have our conditions met to take the trade, right? So we don't know what's going to happen. If the 5-minute candle does close above the opening range, we've got a better shot to take a shallow retest, right? Shallow retest of the opening range. But that's it's against the strategy. And at this point, guys, we're almost there. We really have to, I would rather wait for a premium setup. Okay, wait for that premium setup when we have our conditions met. And hopefully that premium setup comes along very soon, maybe on Sunday, right? Maybe all of this will work out nicely. And pretty bullish candle, pretty bullish. There you go. Very nice. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. There you go. All right. Looks like it's trying to make the crossover, right? Looks like it's trying to get to that 5-minute crossover. We still, wow, very nice looking 1 hour candle there. Very bullish looking 1 hour candle. There's your retest that's taking place right now. Bouncing off the 5-minute 50 simple there. I really wish we had our conditions met to take this trade. I don't know what's going to happen. I have a really good idea of what is going to happen if we had our conditions met. If we had our CCI up here, on the pullback, if this was breaking out to the upside and CCI was above the 0 line or above positive 100, I'd be very happy taking this trade. And there you go. It's working out to the upside, really strong. Did a little retest here. Wish I was a part of this, but it's against the strategy, A little bit of mixed signals here. Bonus component was a neutral candle that formed the opening range. 15-minute neutral candle, right? Very neutral. Let's see how it handles. Let's see how the breakout handles the 15-minute 50 simple moving average. This might be it. This might be the extent of the breakout because of this momentum here. We can only trade what we see. And if you don't see it on the chart, then, if you don't see it on the chart, then, well, I don't know. Maybe it's best to let it play out if you can handle that. When we see something working, it's like, oh, jump in, jump in. Good night. Look at that candle. It wanted that demand zone down there, but it wasn't, just wasn't in our strategy. Look at that monster candle. Oh my God. So now we're starting to break through yesterday's opening range. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Yesterday's opening range there. Let's see how it reacts. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Now we're on the next 5-minute candle, and that is breaking to the upside, starting to break. Wow. Oh, boy, oh boy. I mean, I saw it. I saw it happening. I saw it happening. But look at how far down the momentum is on the 1-hour chart. That is the big problem here. It's got to establish itself a little bit more. It's got to establish itself a little bit more. By 10 o'clock, if this candle maintains its bullishness, I think that's going to jump the CCI. It's going to jump the CCI above that zero line there. Look how we just hit that. We just hit yesterday's opening range, top of yesterday's opening range there. God almighty. Look at this thing take off. Unbelievable. Pisses me off. It's against, I didn't have it. I just didn't have it in the, our conditions weren't met, This is tough, man. This is tough to watch. Because we called it out, right? We called it out as we were going. We called it all out. We even called the right demand zone. We called the right demand zone. We said, this thing looks like it's going to break to the upside, right? In fact, we saw it break through that first demand zone, went to the second one. Monster fucking move. Monster move taking place right now to the upside. Unbelievable. That's the problem with not having a crystal ball. If we had a crystal ball, well, we can predict the future. Hey, we'd be in this thing. But we don't have those things and we can't predict the future. So we can only trade what we see. And if our strategy says CCI on the 1-hour chart has to be above the zero line pre-market and then see a bullish candle form the opening range as a bonus component, So this trade is working out to the upside, but it's just one of those days that it works out to the upside and we didn't have our conditions met. So then you have to think to yourself, well, what is it? And then you have to say, well, probably demand zone, right? That's the demand zone that it wanted. So we don't have it yet. Really wanted this demand zone right here. That's what it wanted. We'll make it a different color. We'll make the bottom one a different color green. Go real dark green. Do like that. Drop down to the 5. Okay. 5-minute has crossed over. Where do we take a shot at this now? Do we take a shot at it? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe later in the day, we can take, a trend cloud signal. That's the second 5-minute candle. I mean, it really looks like it's working out here. So it's like, okay, well, we can take a chance on a retest, of this thing. Still, it's we just don't have our conditions met. Maybe later on in the day we'll have them met. But really nice breakout to the upside early in the day, man. Broke out at the top of that opening range. Where is the 1-hour? Here's the 1-hour 50 simple moving average. Let's put a line on it. Make it purple, dotted, or dashed. All right. Let's make it. Yeah, that's fine. There's the 1-hour 50 simple moving average right there. Looks like this might form a rally base rally. We can take a pullback to the rally base rally. Maybe we'll have better conditions there. But that previous day's high is what we were having trouble getting past. And because we don't have that 1-hour momentum on our side, it could do something wonky, right? Now we do. So, okay, so 10 o'clock, right? 10 o'clock hit, boom, pushed us above the zero line, pushed us above the zero line. And it looks like it's slowly climbing. And to be honest with you, with this CCI here, also, wait a minute. Well, with this CCI, you really do want it to break above positive 100 even slightly first, and then pull back and stay above the zero line, right? We've broken below negative 100, and now we're just crossing above the zero line. It really needs to break above here and then pull back. And that's when you're that's when you're in the safe zone, the best situation to take this. And we really want to just trade premium setups. All right, we got 10 minutes left in this video here, guys. So this is an example of a trade working out to the upside when we didn't have all our conditions met, but it's definitely looking like it wants to climb. I'm getting more and more confident in putting my faith into this move to the upside here. Maybe we can take a retest now, see how it works out now that we're above the zero line at least. Don't know. Let's take a look at some patterns. Okay. Here's the 5-minute chart. All right. Here's where the breakout took place. So any kind of retest into this area, any retest into that area, pretty legit. 15-minute chart, no pattern there, no pattern on the 15-minute. Starting to pull back for a little bit of a retest. Neutral candle. Let this 15-minute candle do its thing. See what happens here. You can scramble your brains trying to figure out what's going to happen. That's why if you stick to a premium setup, like I'm using my technical analysis skills right now to try to figure out what's going on. Anything outside of the strategy is going to be guessing. Anything outside of you can take your best guess. You can take your best guess using your technical analysis skills of supply and demand, support and resistance, momentum. You can take your best guess. We know that the strategy that we use, okay, 3-hour and 1-hour CCI above the zero line, price action above the 1-hour, 50 simple. Look at the bonus components, cycling up, bullish candle forms the opening range, 5-minute candle closes above. All those bonus components and your regular components make up a premium setup. Those are the trades to take. Those are the trades to take a chance on. Anything else, it's guessing. It looks like it's going up, and it looks like, it's really fighting to break out of yesterday's opening range, which is interesting, but it's really looking like it wants to do that. At this point of the game, we're so close. If you're trading professionally and this is the only means of income, you got to start thinking that way, right? That's the goal, right? You got to start thinking that way. If you're copy trading this across 10 accounts, boy, you better be damn sure about what you're doing. It's got to be a premium setup. And it's okay to let a trade go that doesn't fit your criteria. Even if it works out, you got to say, you know what? If all of my conditions are met, it's going to work out. That's the one to take a risk on. But to take a risk on this and then lose, it's best to wait for the premium setup. It's just best to wait for the premium setup. And that's a very difficult thing to do. It's a very difficult thing to do. Wait, wait and hope. We don't want to hope. We want to take a premium setup that we've got back-tested data on. That's really it. I think that's really the key to all of this, guys. That's really the key to all of this. And the closer I stick to that, the more money I end up with at the end of the month. And we really learned to do that by going through those 5 phases of development, right? Basic training, phase 1, practice in the simulator, phase 2, get involved in the Leap day trading competition. That's phase 3. Try to finalize in the top 10%, right? We finalized in the top 7% last time, just using Trend Cloud, opening range breakout system, right? Then you move on to the small account challenge, phase 4, part A, do it in the simulator, take $500, go to $5,000. How long did it take you? Took me 3 months, blew the account out twice in trying to do it. And then part B of phase 4 is that you do it live. Do it in a live account. You'll probably end up blowing it out. You're going to lose the $500, but it's going to tell you where you're at. It's going to force you into rules. It's going to force you to understand yourself and be transparent. And it's going to give you your max drawdown, right? Blew the account out twice. That means I need at least $2,000. If I'm going to lose 1,000 in the drawdown, I'm going to need another 1,000 to stay in it. Honestly, I wouldn't anything under $3,000 it's very difficult to trade. And that's what the small account challenge taught me. And then phase 5 is start your prop trading firm combine. Now you're ready to pass a combine. And look, we're almost there. It's been 12 days, right? 12 days, and I'm almost there. 12 days. Days completed, 12 right there. So 12 days, and I'm almost at my $3,000 mark. Got, $1,200, right? Need $1,200. Can do that you can hit a $1,200 target on one premium setup. This is working out, but it's not a premium setup. It just happens to be working out to the upside. That's what's going on right now. It just happens to be working out to the upside. I think we have less than a minute left, guys. The video is going to end, but that is the lesson for today. Wow, really climbing to the top there, looking like it's going to hit that previous day's high. Maybe that's where the pullback is going to take place, but that's really the lesson for today. Premium setups only. If it's not a premium setup and it works out,